Okay, so what we're looking at here is BTC USD. So on TradingView, you can type in the coin that we're looking at. I'm looking on the Bitstamp chart, and the reason that is so Bitstamp is an exchange. If I type in BTC USD, it'll actually bring up a whole bunch of different charts, right? Depending on what exchange you're on. So if you're trading on, say, Coinbase, then you'd be looking at the Coinbase chart for data. There's different prices, but they're relatively, around the same levels. But the reason I use Bitstamp is because it's one of the longest running charts, so therefore it's got more data, right? So looking at that chart, what you'd normally do in the process is you use this trash can icon to clear everything out, and then start on the day chart, which you can see here we're on. And you can obviously, like there's you would have seen the lines I had before. I set them up earlier, looking left, knowing where support and resistance is, and previous highs and all that sort of thing. But for the sake of this exercise, we'll just work with what's on screen. And who can tell me where support and resistance might be forming on this? Or do you want me to do it like that way, asking people, or do you want me to just show what I think and then follow?
Well, I think, and I just put in the chat there as well, guys. Just go to kevinmendoza.com/crypto collective to open your own free TradingView account, so you can have a bit of a play around with this. Just click on the link there and open your own TradingView account. But I think, and I don't know how you are, Des, you're still on mute, but I know that Des has been doing trading a little bit and has been looking at some of the charts. And Penny, you've only just started. But I think I'm happy as long as you guys are. We'll ask you the question. If you don't know the answer, that's completely fine. But I think it'd be great for you guys to be able to pick it up if you can see it. I think it's a worthwhile experiment, mate.
Yeah. So
just throwing everyone under the bus and just nominating you. So sorry, guys.
So yeah, what we're looking for is drawing support. So where do you guys think support is on this current chart?
I'll unmute you guys. So you can see price is currently at 18,774. So we'll ask the first question is that, does support get drawn under current price or above current price?
Under.
Yeah, perfect. $10 each. There we go. We've got Penny on 10, Clive on 10. Des still on 0. Yeah, I'm in and out of the room at the moment, mate. That's all right, Des. You're still on 0, mate. So we've got Penny on 10, Clive on 10. So right, under. So the next question on top of that is like what Kev just said. Where would you guys draw in a key level of support based on those prices on the right? So we can see that price is currently 18,777. Where do you reckon would be a kind of key level of support based on all those candles there? Where can you see some kind of, price accumulate? So you just tell Kevin when to stop his cursor.
Or where to draw.
Does it have to be a flat line, horizontal, or does it?
Yeah, it's a flat line.
Got to be horizontal, yeah.
I'd go further.
Further down or up?
Up.
Okay. So
further up?
Somewhere around there?
About there.
Yep.
And isn't that surprising, Penny, that the mark that you've said that is definitely a key level of support, what's that price on the side?
I can't see. Too little.
18,000. Well, it's 18,028, but it's basically 18,000. Now, once again,
a round number.
Number, right? There's been a lot of movement and a lot of really strong support there at a round number, which is once again, no surprise. That's made it a little bigger. But,
yeah, thank you. Some of us, our eyesight isn't what it used to be.
Yeah. Let me just make this. Is the chart square or is it big? Like, are you seeing my whole desktop or just the chart?
Yeah, we are, dude.
Yeah,
we're seeing. Oh, sorry, we are just seeing just the chart. But I don't know if you can make the font of the support lines bigger? Like, because currently where you've wrote daily support, it's really small. I don't know. I don't even know if you can write that bigger.
Yeah. I'll make everything 20.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, font size.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that
And maybe write it. Maybe sorry, dude. Can you do it in yellow? I just find yellow stands out heaps more because red kind of blends in with the red candles. Make it like that bright yellow color. Yeah, that bright. Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
Oh, he's demanding, isn't he, Kevin?
yeah. I had all my templates set up and everything, but yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a support level, and the reason that's a good support level is that you can see here there's been several touches. Obviously, the candle body has bounced back off that level, and then over here there's a couple of wicks as well to support that it's been bouncing up that level. You could draw support lines all day. Like there's technically one here as well where this wick bounced off, this one came close, this one bounced off, this one bounced off over here. But essentially, remember what I said about zones. So this is a zone that I'd be looking at where it's, I wouldn't say, it's safely probable, if that's a term, safely probable that if the price was to head down here, it would be a good buy zone for price to go back up because it's been pushing up off there. Technically, if you wanted to zoom out again and look left, right, there's also support over here, right, in this area where you can see that, when the price crashed down here, it dove, not dove, it jumped straight back up around that level. So there's kind of multiple zones that you could draw depending on your style of trading and the time zone you're looking at. But you don't want to end up drawing like these, like 4 different support lines and then starting to get confused or anything like that. But it's just good to know that they exist. That there's levels of floors underneath you to support whichever time frame you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not just going to just go through 18,000 and then down to 17,000, right? Yeah. That's not how it works. Sometimes works that way, but it's generally not how it works.
Range that we're looking at. And then the same thing applies when we're drawing resistance now. So, starting from here, you could say if you're just looking at these candles, I'll just skip ahead. Resistance is, here where it topped out, but also where would you draw it based on the candles that are preceding it, like around here? Where would you put resistance? I'll draw a line here now, and then while you're picking, I'll change this. So just either call out the price level or I'll
just roughly, guys. You don't need to be exact. Just roughly. You can.
Yeah, about the 19 and maybe 19 and a half.
19 and a half. So roughly there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great area. So again, because you're basing it off how many times has it touched that level. So roughly there is one resistance point, and then also taking into account the all-time high, and where it hit just a few days ago, or 2 weeks ago now. That's the next resistance level to break through, and then the all-time high. So this is where you would zoom out to, if I go to the monthly, right, and go back, scroll, oops, get this reset. So over here in, this auto function is really annoying. So over here we can see that, the previous all-time high was up here. So the previous monthly close was up there. Let me go to the weekly close, because then, daily. This will give us a more accurate. So when you zoom into you know, the other time frames, then you can get a more accurate picture of where resistances are or support lines are. So over here on the daily, it closed somewhere around there, right? And I'll make this line, I'll make it green, right? And then zoom back in. Okay. Oh, did that even change it? Where'd my line go? I think it was this one here. So I changed the text. Sorry, not the line. Okay, so there's your kind of area of interest in terms of resistance, and then the support, right? I'm just going to go ahead and delete some of these, so then it's a little bit simpler. Just so you guys know what we're looking at, and get rid of that one. So now that we've drawn support and resistance, the next step is to draw the trend, right? So if we zoom out a little bit, it's already pretty obvious that the trend is going up, right? So I'm going to go from, yeah, you can see there it's an uptrend, and you can just draw. You can initially just like draw the direction, right, of the trend. I'm not going to place it anywhere specific, and then you can kind of adjust. I mean, some people are specific to going, okay, I'm going to go from the bottom of the wick and see how many touch points it crosses. So, you know, this could be the trend line, that could be the trend line. It's really like the trend line is subjective. But
Okay.
yeah, what I like to do in particular is I draw the trend from the last wick that I've seen, and I actually draw my trends backwards. But that's just me. You guys could do it the other way around. So for me, what I like to look at is, I don't how do I say it? I consider my trend as also a level of support and resistance that flips back and forth, right? Because you can never really be exact to like, oh, I'm going to buy at exactly that point, because say your trend line was here between these green wicks, you know, this red wick would have, you know, moved off that line.
Gone through. Yeah.
So it's again, it's a zone, right? It's a zone of interest that you want to look at. Over here, you can see the trend was followed here. Just because candles closed above and below, you wouldn't automatically go like, oh my God, like, you know, things are moving up now, or things are breaking down. It's just a rough indication. So based on that being the trend, can anyone spot a pattern, right? A particular shape that's forming based on these triangles. It might be easier if I put on the line chart. You can kind of see. I'll just draw these in, but you can see that there's, you know, like drawing the tops there. There's a potential triangle.
Triangle. Yeah.
If you were to be pedantic and go, okay, well, this is the actual triangle. I'll just leave these lines on just so you guys can see. And there's obviously the going back to the chart that we were looking at before. There's this triangle here, which is like ascending. So already there's different things that you can look at to go, okay, there's something happening in this area as opposed to back down here or whatever. You know, we're doing something relevant to the time frame now. So what I personally do, which is a little bit, I guess, pedantic of me, but I find it works for me, right? I like to figure out where the triangles and the squares are. So for me, this is my area of interest when I'm drawing or looking at charts. Let me just get rid of the extensions. I just put extensions there just so I know. Yeah.
Don't get too concerned with this part. I think this is good to learn and understand, but yeah, don't get too concerned with this part if you can't understand it just yet.
Yeah. Well, basically, what I'm trying to say here is that when you're drawing shapes out, they move. Shapes move. They can move between different ranges. So just something to be aware of. I'm looking at this particular area in yellow, and I'm looking at this line here potentially being broken. So in my, sorry, where is that? Gosh. I'm looking at, okay, what's going to happen at this point? Is it going to break up here and then possibly come back down and then continue and you know, form the triangle? Or my next area would be towards the bottom here. Is it going to break this trend and then come back down and then keep going down like that? That's kind of, you know, the zone that I'm looking at, but I'm not like entering any trades yet. Does that make sense so far? Is everyone with me? Or should I?
Well, just breaking out of that zone, I think what Kev's trying to say is that it's with what we can see here are a couple of things. So we've drawn up our support and resistance. So we all agree with that. We've done in our trend line. We all agree with that. When Kev brings up the other chart, the line chart, we can see that there's a triangle forming. Now, what it basically means, and sometimes, and I'll be honest here, I personally don't use triangle formations all the time because I'm a little bit different. I'm purely I'm purely waiting for. I do a lot of stuff in the channels, but the thing is that one thing that this does tell us is that we're waiting for a confirmation either way. So we're waiting for Bitcoin to bounce out of this triangle, and which way is it going to go? Is it going to go down? Which in the first case, if it goes down, it's going to break that trend line, potentially try and push back up to $18,000 and then not break it. So then that level of support becomes what? It becomes resistance, right? So if we break support and price ends up below that daily support of 18,000, it ends up becoming resistance, and then we potentially trade it down. Or we're also waiting for if it potentially breaks out of this triangle and up through that rectangle and breaks past $19,500. What's the next step then? You know, are we going to push up again and try and touch that 19,900 mark? So this part is certainly not something that we are showing you guys and expect you guys just to understand through watching it live, or if you're watching this video to watch it understanding it the first time. This will take a few watches to kind of process and understand.
Yeah, usually if I was placing a trade, you draw like 3 or 4 lines and that's it. But because we're trying to explain to you what to sort of look out for, this is what we're looking at, you know, the triangle formation here, or this range here in the rectangle. And so there's, again, depending on the style of trading that you do, you could go, you know, I'm going to wait until it breaks past this rectangle and you know, be patient. And I'm a long-term, if I'm a long-term trader, then you know, or a long-term breakout, you'd be looking at, okay, is it going to get past this resistance point and you know, bounce back up in that direction. Oops. Yeah, there's also the potential. So it's kind of like, how do I explain it? Because there's so many ways to was it not skin a cat?
I know.
Skin a cat.
Yeah.
You just have to look at what's most probable. You know, there's no point sort of drawing all these lines and going, okay, it could bounce off that one or this one or that or the other. For me, it's just easier to go, okay, what are the 2 shapes that I see? What are the most probable? And, you know, for me, this is a potential area there. or if that doesn't play out, then I would, you know, look at this area to possibly go back down to this level of support. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So even if, for example, you know, you don't draw in the triangle, there can still be trades here, right? Even if you don't potentially draw in the triangle, there can still be trades here because it's either going to bounce out of this channel and go above 19.5, or it's going to go down underneath the channel and the trend line and start trading under 18,000. Or the third option is it's going to go down to 18,000.
Stay in the middle.
Yeah, it could potentially drop down to 18,000-ish and bounce off this trend line that's been created.
Yeah.
And therefore, what do we have there? We have a potential trade back up to 19.5 because we've already got a confirmed trend line that's well established. So what could happen here is we could bounce down off that daily support and off that trend line, and then we've got a pretty strong trade heading up to 19.5. So you know, it's not like you have to draw in the triangles if you're potentially trading between the channels. It just helps to understand and analyze what the next move may or may not be. It's just an extra tool to use. But as a lot of the people who will be watching this video and you guys who are just starting out trading, I often tell people, and this is only because of the way I learned as well, but everyone learns differently. I didn't really deal with a lot of the triangles until I fully understood how support and resistance works, how trend line works, and how market structure works. And then I added in triangles, ascending triangles, to get a better understanding of which way a trend may going. But the reason why Kevin and I are including this information in this video is because we're kind of like turning a 16-hour course into a 3-hour one, right? So therefore we are already assuming you're competent with support and resistance. We're already assuming that you're competent with market structure, assuming you're competent with candlestick analysis. So these are the things that you would need to be fully across and understand for you to process triangles and that kind of thing. Once again, that's how I learned. But I do find that if you just do one thing at a time and build on top of it, right? So Penny and Des, you guys would know from the course you're currently doing that, you know, that's why support and resistance is one lesson. And that's why the next lesson's candlesticks. And that's why the next lesson's market structure and trend lines. It's for that reason, because we're building a building, building a building. We're creating a building. So we're getting level 1 first, then level 2, then level 3, and constantly building up and up and up. So it's okay to be watching this video and be like, I'm lost, because it's going to take time to understand each of these steps. So then when you do get to the penthouse at the top, it's the cream on the top, and you can then feel confident to go out and place a trade.
Yeah. So yeah, what Troy's talking about, I'm just trying to illustrate this to you guys that, you know, it is that thing of like moving up in steps. I don't know if you can sort of see that here. If you imagine this is different levels, you know, of an apartment, or, oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I've got my, my magnet turned on. Anyway, yeah, you know, things move up and down in steps. Support becomes resistance, resistance becomes support, but the general trajectory in a bull trend is this. So it's a stepping up. Can everyone kind of see that? You could draw lines for days as to where things are, you know, touching on these levels and going up and down. So, so yeah, the basic understanding is to know where your support and resistance levels are, regardless of the shape that you could draw. Like pattern recognition for me is like the next step, but yeah, support and resistance horizontally is like level 1, like that has to be in place, and then you can identify you know, other shapes and patterns. I guess that's what Troy's talking about.
Exactly. And that's all good, Penny. Thank you anyway.
Thank you.
All good, no problem. And we'll catch up with the video and let me know.
Soon. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is it's okay to not understand what's happening because it's going to take time. It takes time you got to watch these things back.
Yeah. So going back to this think of this as like a pattern dictionary. There's so many different types of patterns that you can have a look at, but the common thing to all of them is these entry, stop, and target levels, which are essentially your support and resistance levels of where and how to get into a particular type of formation or a particular type of trade. So in this case, I'll illustrate some of the things that I see based on what's on here. So I'll jump down to the 4-hour chart because I think it'll be easier to sort of notice the points. Set this. Drawing triangles. So all the way back till I'll start from where we had this big drop. So this big drop was basically COVID, right? That's what happened there. I'll use this tool. So the trend would have been going up here and then also going across. Wait, I need to get better at my. Oh no, sorry. I need to get better at my my drawing shortcuts. Right, yeah. So there's a triangle that formed here, and then it ended up breaking out, right? And then over here as well, there's another triangle from the low. If you sort of cross over there, even though that really sort of took a long time to play out, it broke to the upside. This next one over here, right? You can see that this, if you were looking at this as a triangle, even though it's more of a rectangle, so this one's kind of unique in that, sorry, there, right? At the time, you would have been looking at this as a potential triangle going up, but because it broke the trend line here and broke the formation, it ended up essentially becoming a rectangle, right? And it went back down. So you can draw these shapes or at least identify these things all day.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing here because a lot of the people watching this video are going to be beginners. I wouldn't stress or worry about identifying too much of these triangles at first. I think the basis is the overall trend line is going up. Yes, there are these triangles being created. It's important to recognize them and understand them. But the key thing here is identifying support and resistance, identifying your trend lines, identifying market structure, your higher highs, your higher lows, and how that works. But yeah, it is definitely important to understand and keep that in mind. But probably for the basis of the live trade, we probably should base it off. We'll base it off like our support levels and our resistance.
Yeah. Okay.
And while we're placing the trade where we are.
Yeah. Okay. So in this case, zoom. Get rid of this auto setting. Always got to remember that.
Yeah.
So over here, keeping in mind we're waiting for, this trend. I'll just double check that this extends to the left. That's the trend that I'm looking at. Other people could obviously have different trend lines, but for the purpose of this, that's the trend I'm looking at. So my areas of interest are, if I was to draw here, my areas of interest are, okay, is it going to bounce off the trend line at some point over here? Or is it going to break out of this rectangle, right? Or this range, sorry. Yeah, I don't need to draw it. So is it going to break out of this area? Also, the current resistance being pointed there, right? So, yeah, what I'm looking at here, and correct me if, well, actually, guide me on this one, Troy, because I see like 3 trades right now that I want to take on this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
can make money there, can make money there. Yeah. Working with what we've got, you know, the hammers and whatever else.
Yeah.
This could potentially be a trade. So I'm going to use the risk to reward tool here just to draw these out, right? I'm not actually placing a trade here.
Yeah.
But this could potentially be a trade that, well, depending on if you're using flagpoles or not. Do you want to get into that or
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So somewhere in this zone,
No.
if this plays out, and breaks out of there, that's a potential trade. But what can you see based on the candle that's forming now? It's still short. It's indecision time, you know. So you've got to wait at least the next 22 hours to figure out. This candle could be like a huge red one that comes back down here, back down to trend, or this could be a breakout that goes back up there. So my area of interest, like I said, is looking at this to place a potential trade to buy. And I would, oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. I was just going to say, there's a couple of ways I would say here. So seeing our daily close happen. So remember how we're talking about our daily close before? Our daily close happened about an hour and a half ago. So therefore, this is a daily chart. So each of these candles represent 24 hours of time. So our trend that has generally been going up has taken a bit of a over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week and a half, has each day it's closed slightly down, right? We can see that the trend over the last kind of 10 days has closed slightly down each day. So we've got a trend line on a shorter time frame that is being very well respected. So my thoughts here are that if in 22 and a half hours time we broke out of this trend line and closed above that that line that you've got drawing down, then that to me is a very key sign that that we are going to bounce, and the art of probability will bounce it back up to that kind of 19.4, 19.5, possibly 19.9 area. But this is the issue that we have with Bitcoin at the moment, and something that I would be talking to you guys about. Well, I mean, I'd be asking you guys about who are just starting. We could potentially, in the spirit of not overcomplicating things, we could potentially get rid of that white line and just simply wait for us to drop back down and respect that trend line again, and then place a trade that bounces back up. So we could go either way here. I guess the issue that I have right at the moment with Bitcoin, where it stands right now, I believe this at 18,800, because it's going to take a hell of a push to get past 20, and that kind of 18,000, 17,900 area is very well respected. So we're kind of right in the middle at the moment where it could literally go either way. So for me, I will definitely not be placing a trade for the next day for Bitcoin.
On a daily time frame. So
on a daily time frame.
What we're trying to get at here, or at least with, I tend to get into the, and this is just me personally, I like to look at all the options available to me, right? I see potentially 5 different trades here in different time frames, but what we're trying to point out is it's really tricky to sort of simplify from my perspective, because I've been in it for so long. But if you were looking conservatively at the current state of the market and the technical analysis, the two main probabilities here are either it breaks out and continues on this path wherever that is. So wherever I've drawn these lines, don't take that as like that's where it's going to go. It's just kind of trying to point out that it's, you know, if it moves up and breaks these sort of trajectories, it's going to keep going along that trajectory, sorry. But if this candle, you know, or rejects against this line, then, you know, that just fulfills that shape of a triangle. It could come back down to this support level and then bounce up again. It could break down here. So as a trader, if I was looking for a long position, say, and only looking at, you know, holding that for the next couple of days, maybe, if that, I might look at taking a trade. So, you know, off this support, putting in a buy order there, and then maybe conservatively just going, okay, possibly at this resistance level, I might take some profit or get out of the trade, or possibly get out at this point. Does that make sense so far? Like, that's
so
option A.
Yeah, so option A is that we respect the trend line. So, you know, there's, based on the last 10 days, there's a very good chance that we're going to go down again, because that trend line that's been created over the last week and a half has kind of kept bouncing off that line. So you see that line that's going down in that direction. Remember, each of these candles represents a day. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days or whatever it is, we keep bouncing off. So there's a very good chance we're going to drop down again. I guess my thing here as well to think about is that if we do resist off that trend line that's going down again, and we bounce down off that other trend line, are we going to get squeezed in this triangle again? So my thing would be, are we going to get squeezed in that triangle and not actually break out? So I definitely get. So this is a great example for you guys who are on, plus also for anyone listening back into a recording, the different ways that traders look at this market. So Kevin can see multiple trades happening at a shorter time frame, but whereas myself, I prefer to wait for breakouts to happen. So for me, I'm just waiting this out. I'm not even, because for me, I believe personally, based on my risk to reward ratio and my overall mentality towards trading, I believe that even if it does reject off where Kevin's mouse is just there and bounce back down to the trend line, there's a very good chance for me personally that it's just going to bounce straight back up to that trend line above it and going to get squeezed in this triangle. So I'm waiting for the candles to either close above that trend line or to drop below the other trend line, and then I will consider to make a trade. So I guess the moral of this story is, once you've identified what kind of trader you are, and you understand what kind of trader you are, Kevin can see a smaller time frame trades in here. I can see those trades, but I'm not interested in them because I would prefer to have confirmation of a breakout of this before I made the trade.
Yeah, good point. And you just gave me an idea, actually. Like, I don't want to like give the picture that, you know, we're getting stuck with paralysis through analysis or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
What we're trying to illustrate is that there's different options, right? And you'll figure that out as you go along. If I put my long-term, position trader on, my long-term hat on, similar to what Troy said, I would wait to see, okay, do we actually break out of the all-time high and then come back up, and then that's where I would place my trade. So if I'm looking at the if I was looking long term, I'd be wanting to totally like zoom out, make sure we clear this zone here, and even like my so again, zooming out, my stop loss, or like the place where I would consider potentially getting out of the trade, would be somewhere down here or possibly even here. And you know, letting this ride for how whatever time frame I'm looking at. So then in that case, if you were a long-term trader in that regard, you wouldn't even place anything here. You could wait for that to happen. You could wait for the squeeze to happen, maybe buy off the next trend, which could be in this channel or up here somewhere. So, you know, keeping that perspective in mind. You know, your long-term outlook will determine your position trades. Whereas if you're trading as a, you know, intraday trader, like if I wanted to use this data for shorter trades, which I do like to do, you know, I could be looking at, okay, whatever happens here, it might end up coming back down to, you know, the trend line here, and then bouncing back up, you know, or staying within this range. That gives me confidence that, you know, a buy order from somewhere on the trend could play out, right? Which gives me a better position. But if we break this trend here, then, you know, it could also just follow this channel, right?
Yeah.
And then potentially channel down back to this support line and then break out or break down further. So if I was looking, you know, on the shorter time frame for this, then that's a potential area of interest for me trading wise. So I guess we have to decide as traders, okay, are we going long term, want to see something over the next couple of days, or are we looking at something over the next couple of hours? What in terms of placing a trade, you know, because in this case we don't have a trade plan, we haven't written one out. So
yeah,
for this exercise, you know, I could just go on the minute charts and place a trade there and see what happens, just so you guys can see.
Yeah.
This. But
well, I mean, I think the key part of this message is that there's no it's not like there's a wrong and a right way. All it is justifying it based on the rules that you've written for placing a trade. So this at the moment doesn't tick off all my rules. So therefore, I wouldn't place a trade. But because Kevin trades on shorter time frames, enough of his rules have been ticked off for him to place a trade, and I can justify and understand why he would do that. But it's just not for me, so I would wait. So yeah, and there's not a wrong and a right way either way. But I think for the general consensus of what we're looking at, it's just a matter of just, yeah, once you've identified how you want to do it, then you can kind of then if it ticks off on your rules, then you can then place that trade and go into it. So yeah, I think that's the general consensus of what we're trying to say here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so just for the sake of the exercise, because like you want to go into Binance, right, and then put the trade in. Not saying that we're going to buy anything. We're just going to show you how to put the position in. You know, are we looking at the probability of it bouncing off trend here? Never mind these levels. So are we looking at this area for it to bounce and go up, or are we looking at waiting for the trade to play out here, or are we waiting for somewhere up here? If we're going long, have we decided whether we're going long or short based on the time?
If you're, I don't expect Clive or Des to know the answer to that. So I will say, in my humble opinion, I would say that based on all the data that we've got so far, I would say that we'd be looking to go long, because the trend line most certainly hasn't been broken and we are heading in that general direction. So that would be based on what I would say. And I guess my question is, and sorry to put you on the spot here, Clive and Des, if you can hear us, but my question to you guys would be, do you understand why my idea of going long, or that I believe the market will go up, why I've made that decision based on the data that is there. Do you understand why I would be doing that? And it's okay if you still don't understand, because you may need to watch the video a few more times to totally get why I've made that decision.
Do that. My take at the moment is you can, with your trading rules or your trading plan, you can create a best guess. And then you're looking for evidence that you're on the right track. And then maybe a bit more evidence that has confirmed that your guess was as good as you thought it was. At which point, somewhere down the track, you then make a trade, depending on your desire to stay safe and your risk levels. Yeah.
So I guess the first thing out of that would probably be the language, and obviously we wouldn't say guess, we would say based on the analysis that we've done. Because we're certainly not guessing. We've if we were guessing, we wouldn't be making the trade, obviously, because that ends up being gambling. Desmond just said because it's in an uptrend, and that's pretty much right. So everything that I personally do, it all goes back to what kind of trend is the overall market doing, and it's in an uptrend. So to counter trend or to go against that trend at any point, for me personally, because I'm not a low time frame trader, is just crazy for me. It doesn't compute with my head, because I'm like, we're in a general uptrend. So overall, the consensus is still bullish, and we're still going up. But everything else that you said there, Clive, is pretty much correct, right? So we're basing it off what's there. We're basing off the data that's there, and I guess the only other thing is that when we do place a trade and we do place a risk to reward ratio, and once again, we're putting probably a 16-hour course into 3.5 hours here. We base it off a risk to reward ratio of what suits us. So sometimes a risk to reward ratio that I'm comfortable with would be, a 1.5 to 1, or someone else might be a 2 to 1. Or you know what I mean? But you want to kind of minimum do 1.5 to 1, because otherwise, why would you risk, $1 just to make $1.10? You know what I mean? Like you want to have some kind of risk in there, depending on which way you believe the trade is going to go. So yeah, were you going to actually go in and place the trade, Kev?
Yeah, I thought that's all. That's what we.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, if you want to place the trade.
Yeah, placing a trade doesn't necessarily mean I'm buying right now. It's just I just wanted to show people the process, I guess, of
how we come up with that decision.
Yeah. Obviously, deciding to place a trade, like at this point I would have placed, my trade positions already, trying to catch that. Even just during this call, I was like, during this call or between yesterday and today, the prices moved $400. So there's, trades to be had in there. If you were, say, going, okay, this might break, therefore I'm going to get in early and place a trade there, that's kind of like FOMOing in, because as we've mentioned before, there's 22 hours left to go on this candle. You have no idea how it's going to form. So, that definitely wouldn't be a time to buy right now, but it could be a level that you look at, potentially over here, maybe that if it does come back to trend, that's a potential area of interest. So you could place an order in advance for that kind of thing. You could also go, okay, I'm just going to base it off support. So where was the previous support line that we just worked out? Okay, somewhere around there. Like, I don't care whether it's going to go up or down. I'm going to put a buy order in at that point. It doesn't, placing a trade doesn't mean I'm purchasing the coin right now, because the price is still up here. So yeah, I just wanted to get through, because I think some people have been, hesitant to even like look into Binance and how all that sort of thing works, because they think, okay, as soon as I put an order in, it's going to pick it up, and then that's it. My money's in. And I also wanted to touch on what Troy mentioned with risk to reward. So again, we can't squeeze all the data into this particular call, but this tool that we're using, basically anything that you see in the green is your reward, potential reward. Anything you see in the red is potential risk. And I just put in $100 as the account size here. So say we're just trading with $100, right? Pay attention to this percentage number and this dollar value on the right here. So as say we bought in at this level, right? And that price is 18,000, whatever, 18,031, right? As I move this risk level up and down, you see the percentage changes and the value changes to the right. So at 1.45, or where is it, 1.45%, but what this basically says is if the price moves from this point down here, 1.45%, what I stand to lose is $1.05. So it's the difference from this to $100, right? Over here, this is our $100 account. The lower I go, the more I lose, right? And can go, okay, so at this point here, where is it? Roughly the same. So at this point here, where it goes 1 to 1, right? That's essentially where my $100 would be lost if I was to place trade on this with this risk to reward ratio. So I guess what I'm trying to point out is we never risk more than 1% of our trade. So in this case, if we had $100 in our account, we'd only put $1 in on this particular thing. And if our stop loss was say under this market structure, right, and we stick to that and just go, okay, I'm going to risk losing what's this, $1.03, say, if this trade goes wrong. But if I go for a conservative level over here of this level of resistance there, my risk to reward ratio is, reward to risk ratio in this case is 2.69. So I'll try to go a bit of a round number. So somewhere here, 3 to 1. Yeah, close enough, right? So what this is saying is that there's a 3 to 1 chance. No, sorry, not a 3 to 1 chance. There's a 3 to 1 reward that I could receive if I was to place a trade at this point and only risk my $1 roughly with the dollar 99, somewhere around there, right? So if I get this trade wrong, I lose $1. If I get this trade right at 3 to 1, where is it? 3 to 1. Yeah, if I get this trade right, I win $1. Oh, sorry, $3. This makes sense?
Yeah, because it's a
3 to 1 ratio.
3 to 1 ratio, yeah. So your risk to reward is 3 to 1. So it's no different to a bet. I'll bring it all back to a bet. You're going to triple your money.
Yeah. So what some people, so this is going back to the module we were talking about yesterday about protecting your risk, protecting your money. What people are usually drawn to is this big green area and go, okay, I want to make, a 7 to 1 trade. I want to, make a ton of money. But what you should be looking at as a trader is how much risk level are you exposed to? If the price, bounces around this area and then comes back down past this level, that's it. You're going to be what's called stopped out of the trade, and you lose your dollar. So it's really important to look at the risk level. How much risk are you willing to absorb or be exposed to in order to get the reward that you want? So in this case, you don't necessarily move your reward levels. What you do first is figure out how much risk you're willing to take. Like if you think that because Bitcoin went all the way down here during this last move, then if you were to put a trade on here, your risk level would be somewhere below this line. And if that's the case, can you see here that at that level, it's almost a one-to-one trade. That's kind of what Troy was talking about before, in that he wouldn't take this trade, because why would you risk $1 losing it here if all the potential you have, given the current market, is that you're only going to make $1 as well? Does that make sense? So far?
Yeah, you line it up with previous structure. So, for example, with this trade, you know, there's the potential of it dropping down to 16,200, and the upside, until we get a correction, right? The art of probability will tell us that the next time we go and touch 19,900, we're probably going to get rejected again, because we've been rejected several times before. So the risk to reward for us here is quite low. Whereas if, let's say, that trend line was broken and it dropped down to 16,200, then our risk to reward ratio is much higher, because there's a much better chance that it's going to bounce up off 16,200, like what Kev has just drawn in there, and bounce back up and potentially get back up to that kind of 19,900 mark. So at the moment, this is where it's kind of in this tricky spot at the moment, where is it going to push its way up and touch 19.9 again? Is it going to break the trend and drop back down to 16? What is it going to do? So I'm just a bit conscious of the time here. So what we might do is we might jump in and just place a live trade here. And like I said, all this information is usually like a 16-hour bunch of information jammed into really 3.5 hours that we've had. So once we've done this, we'll do a quick go over of how you can actually up your game as well, to potentially be really successful in this market. So you're in Binance now. So Binance, as you guys remember before,
I'll just set this up,
is the #1 exchange in the world as far as liquidity and market is concerned. It's got the highest amount of trading volume. So therefore, we do trade through Binance.
Yeah. So since we're kind of skipping through, what I've got here is just the BTC AUD chart. So you know,
that's Bitcoin to Australian dollar.
Australian dollars, yeah. I'm doing that since most of the people probably in Australia, and I've got over here. You can see I got 396 Aussie dollars in this particular wallet, and you know, I'm looking to buy Bitcoin now, and I guess in my trading plan, I'm going long, and I don't really mind, you know, the fluctuations over the next couple of hours or the next couple of days. I'm happy to buy at this point, and I'm not trading with any kind of leverage or anything like that. I just want to get into the market, right? So based on my style of just drawing up 2 lines like that, you could also do support and resistance. I'll do that as well, since, you know, that's what we're supposed to do.
You should do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We always do that. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say.
I iron things out already, and I kind of, you know, have an idea of
yeah, you start to know when you're doing this every day, right? You start to know where support and resistance lines are, but as a rule, you should always draw them in, just in case you forget.
Yeah. So I'm kind of looking in this area and kind of ignoring this side, even though it could potentially go down there. So my potential buy levels could be down here, right? I'm just going to make these really tiny, so then you have so I just want to play these scenarios out. So say I wanted to buy down here, because I think that you know, it might break this trend. Don't worry about the reward target. Okay, if I was buying down here, I'd be looking at potentially, you know, coming back up here somewhere. The other thing that I'd be looking at is I can't do undo here, sorry. I'll just have to clone this. I'll put that back down there. You can see why I'm lining it up to this line, right? Without me having to draw the horizontal line. And then clone. The other thing I'm looking at is if it breaks past this line. So if it breaks this triangle and then this line here, this level, then I might, you know, look to buy in somewhere there. In this case, again, I'm not really worrying about the target, but my stop loss would be somewhere there underneath this previous market structure. And you know, even though the probability of it finding more resistance there is high, like I said, I'm looking to, you know, I'm just going to buy in and hold it for you know, a couple of years or whatever. So those are the two areas. This area here is like, cool, if I'm lucky, I'll get that. If I'm lucky, I'll get this. So you know, luck tends to not play a part in this. It's just more your educated guesses, but just because of the language that we use, I guess. There's, you know, probabilities for this to go anywhere. And the other level I also look at is over here, back at this level of support. So I guess you could say this is my cake over here. This is my cake, and I really want price to sort of come back down here because that's more probable within the range, and then come back out. So this is my cake, and these two are like my icing, different types of icing on the cake. So if I was to, does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the art of, like, once again, I've said these words a billion times, but the art of probability will tell us that there's much more of a chance of this line bouncing off that trend line and going down and picking up Kevin's trade there, which is his cake, as he said, the middle trade. And then once it bounces off that trend line, pushing back up and touching previous all-time highs, which is that, you know, 19,900 level. If the other trades play out at the same time, then that's awesome. And he can kind of take those trades as well. But the key trade here is clearly it's breaking off that resistance level of that downtrend, jumping on there in that what mark is that? You put it in Australian dollars to confuse us, but it's 23,800, which is essentially 18,000-ish, and then bouncing up to hit previous all-time highs. And can you see why Kevin has maybe just get rid of those other two there? Sorry, Kev, just so we can concentrate on your cake. Don't worry about the icing just for now. Can you see why Kevin has marked his risk box, so the red box, why it's marked down where it is? If you look to the left, you can see why Kevin's had the risk box as a stop loss marked that size, right? Because if you look to the left, previous structure, you just hover over that previous structure there, Kev, you can see to your left, sorry, mate.
Oh, here.
Yeah, previous structure is there, right? So that's the level of support. So that's the reason why Kevin has said that, you know, that's his risk area, but the reward is much higher. What do you got, about a 2-to-1 reward there, or
1.8? Yeah, I mean, I could,
1.8.
you know, be more somewhere around here. I'm just going by just for the sake of it, just going on this wick, you know.
Yeah.
Jump in. So if the price hits somewhere around here, cool. It could wick down, could do whatever, but I'm just, yeah, for the sake of this exercise, because I really want to be able to just show people to put something in, that it's not a scary thing, you know. So yeah, normally this process would take, you know, 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, once you sort of know what you're looking at. So yeah, you know, with my risk being at this point here, and this thing we're doing is only a spot trade. So basically I'm buying the Bitcoin, and then I'll think of selling it later, right? But I still like to mark out where it could potentially go. So based on this, I look at my price here, and let's see here, 23,831.33. I don't know how to change the font size of this, so sorry to those people who can't see, but it's around $23,831.33. So on the left here, what I will do is, there's 3 different ways to place a trade. You can place a market trade. That's the quickest one, where you just buy it at whatever the market price is, right? So if I was to say I want to buy, you know, 1 Bitcoin at that price. Oh wait, I don't have enough in my account. I wish I did. If I wanted to buy 0.01 of a Bitcoin, right? If I press this buy button, it would buy it at pretty much whatever the price is right here now, which obviously we don't want, right? We don't want to buy it higher than market value. So yeah, stay away from market for now. And what we can do is place a limit order, which basically says at the price that I want it to be bought at. So 23831, I'll type that in here, 23831.33. You know, I want to buy, maybe I'll just do like 1%. So $3 worth of Bitcoin, right? Which is like 0.000167 Bitcoin. If I hit buy on this, have I explained that pretty easily enough? Like everyone knows. Like
yeah. So,
all right, I'm buying Bitcoin at this point, and yeah, because I'm not, what's the word? I'm not putting leverage on this or anything like that. There's actually no risk for me at this point. I'm literally putting an order in to buy Bitcoin, and it'll say there, do you want to buy, like, you know, price?
So all Kevin's doing literally is buying Bitcoin at a level that he believes it's going to bounce off, and therefore, he is going to make more Bitcoin because he's going to bounce it off a level. He's going to buy it at a level he believes it's going to bounce off, and then sell it at a level which is much higher.
Yep.
So that's essentially what you want to do when you're in a long position. You want to buy it low and sell it high. So that's essentially what's taking place here. And once again, if you're watching this live or you're watching this recording, don't stress out, because this takes a few times to listen to understand. But yeah, essentially what Kevin's doing here is he's buying at a price he believes it's going to bounce off because of that trend line that's going up. And he believes that over the next couple of days, it's going to hit back up to its previous all-time highs, and therefore at that point he will take a profit because his current risk to reward ratio is about 1.8, which means that you know, the art of probability again tells us that there's more of a chance of it going up based on the analysis that we've done. So usually we don't even show people how to place a trade until they've gone through another 12 or 13 hours worth of training. But for the sake of what we're doing today, we just wanted to show people that, yes, it is daunting, but it's certainly not a scary thing to do. And it's quite an easy actual process to do. You simply put in the numbers and click buy.
Yeah. Sorry, that just came up as I need a minimum of $10, so the order didn't come through. But
that's fine. I don't think we physically need to place the order. I think for the people who are watching it and these guys live, I think, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think you get the idea, guys who are live, that, you know, just to simply, you know, once you've drawn it up and you've got your risk to reward ratio in, you simply would type in buy X amount of Bitcoin at, you know, because it's Australian dollars, 23,631, and click confirm.
Yeah. So what's happened there is it's created an order, and you can see here in my open orders list that it's going to buy Bitcoin at that price. You can see the limit order line there. So until the price hits that level, it's not going to buy anything. Like, I haven't lost my money. You know, there's just literally an order sitting there, just going, okay, when price goes down to here, or if price goes down to there, pull $10 out of the account and go and buy the Bitcoin. And it's as simple as that. If I wanted to go, okay, I don't like that price level, you know, depending on what the next 24 hours plays out to be like, I can just literally cancel the order by clicking that, and then that's it. I haven't lost anything. I haven't paid fees. I haven't it's literally that simple. You just place the order, and yeah, cancel it. So I think I hope that might kind of help people get to that point of like playing around in it, because a lot of people think like, oh no, as soon as I hit buy, it's like I'm buying something and I'm going to lose and whatever.
Yeah, it's not a scary process, right? It would seem a little scary right now because you're trying to consume 16 hours worth of information into 3.5. But once you've done the right training and the right understanding, it's not a scary process. And I'm very conscious of the time here. So what I'm going to do, that this does lead us into our next part for people watching who want to up their game potentially. So you guys live or anyone who's watching the recording. If you want to bring to that next slide, Kev, I'm happy to run through here and show you what we're doing to up our game. So how to upgrade your game, right? So number one, upgrade your quality of learning materials. So that's key. Upgrade your feedback loops. So make sure that you're at least in some sort of community where you can learn to to bounce things off other like-minded people, which pretty much ties into upgrade your environment as well. Number 4, upgrade your commitment. So like everything, so upgrading your commitment is, there's no doubt that you can commit to a couple of hours a week and things will work out fine. But the more commitment you can give this, knowing that it is a proven way to grow your wealth, and knowing hopefully after this download of massive information, you can see the potential that it has. If you can upgrade your commitment, you're only going to get better at it. And then finally, 5 brings us to upgrade your mentors. And this is just an opportunity we wanted to share with you guys from today, based on the trading that you've just learned and what we've already gone through. And this is a community that we're with, and that we have been with for a while now, and that we've traded with. So we wanted to share this opportunity with you guys as well, who are live, and also for people who are watching the recording. So this is MBA Trading Academy, and we've been with these guys for a while now, and these guys are key to basically, especially everything that we've learned in regards to mentors, and everything we've learned in the trading space, and learning the psychology part, which I said before is 80% psychology, 20% technical analysis. So so the fellow with the hat on there is Michael, the guy in the middle is Paul, and the other guy is Jason. All of them have come from various different backgrounds. Jason, for example, is a financial analyst, I believe it was, and he's since gone into being a master trader and been doing that for a considerable amount of time. Paul is a wealth coach. He's been in and out of the wealth business for a while now. He's in the Anthony Robbins program. I can't remember what the elite program's called, but he's done all sorts of things. What's it called? The platinum. But there's another. He was on a private jet. It's someone I remember hearing a story about. But anyway, and then Mick is someone who has been working on marketing and other things for a while, but he's also a master trader as well now, along with Jason. So we just wanted to share this opportunity with people who may be interested to up their game in regards to trading, mainly because of what it's given us and other people in the community who are with them as well. I know Clive, you obviously know Paul. Paul's with MBA Trading as well. So if you want to jump to the next slide there, Kev, and we'll run through this for you, because as I said, I am conscious of time as well. But this is what I've been saying during this, right? So there's I've been saying 16 hours, but there's actually over 20 hours of foundational technical analysis training videos that the guys offer, which is, quite considerable and really amazing. They do an actual live course every roughly 2 to 3 months. And each time they do a live course, it updates in their back office, and you can watch the previous live courses over and over again. Are you showing them the live course?
You're showing the back end.
Oh yeah, cool. So yeah, this is the trading education side and the back end that you guys will be able to see when Kevin's screen loads up. So you can, it hasn't loaded up there yet, mate, but look, basically there's a heap of different lessons, right? As I said, in total are roughly around about 17 or 18 lessons, right? Which equates to pretty much 20 hours worth of foundational technical analysis training videos. So there's a huge amount of information, a huge amount of access to help and support there as well. If you want to jump to that next slide.
You can basically watch it. It's like self-paced learning. Watch it anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a massive key, I know, for a lot of people who obviously are short on time and want to watch it back when they can. Which obviously a lot of people are doing with this. There's a lot of people just watching the recording, which is fine. And we totally get it because people have busy lives and what they do. So there's also access to what they call the School of Sparta Live, which is basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And now I believe there's a Friday feedback session as well. And I think there's any session on Tuesday mornings. So there's roughly 4 or 5 market scans that they do a week, which is just insanity, because what it literally is the master traders are on there showing people the trades they're about to enter in, the trades that they're doing, which is just crazy analysis to get, because what you can do is essentially jump into the market scans and, I'm not saying to do this, but I'll put my hand up and say that I have jumped into a trade that Jason has analyzed because he's so good at what he does, and followed his trades, and therefore have had quite a lot of wins based on his analysis after I've checked it myself, obviously. But a lot of that kind of hard work's already done, and you can jump into the trades that they do. And then also you've got, you press that, Kev?
The Friday.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, the weekly, so the Friday technical analysis review, which is essentially particularly important, especially when you're starting. So you can see there, I don't know if you can see, it's quite small writing, but there's homework albums in their Facebook group, which revolve around support, and like this one's a support and resistance and candlestick analysis. So after you do each lesson, you actually go onto their Facebook group and submit actual homework for the traders to go on there and then mark your homework, right? Which is just unbelievable to be able to do, to actually have that kind of connection, so you can actually get the actual traders who have been doing it for years to give you direct feedback on your actual charts. So that there is obviously an amazing value with what it is. So not trying to do a big sales spiel here, guys. I'm purely just trying to go through all the value that we've got here. So there's a Discord channel they have, which is a program that you can use through your computer, which is easy to learn, which basically is not the online community. There's about 1,600 members now worldwide. They're actually based in Townsville, but there's members from all over the world now, which is exceptional. And there's people that the traders put up live charts during the day or evening sometimes about the different trades and the different things they're in, and suggesting potential trades to jump in, which is awesome. So that's obviously valued at quite a bit as well. What do we got next, Kev? Oh yeah, so the School of Sparta Facebook group. So this is the Facebook group. So that actually says 988 members. It's actually at 1,600 now. It's grown massively. So there are some people on this call who are already in this group. So Des, I know you're already in this group. And Penny just joined the group as well. And there's a few other people as well. But if you are watching the recording, this would be, or Clive, obviously, this would be the group that you would join up with. This is basically where they have all the information. They drop, there's a lot of motivational stuff in there, but they also drop direct feedback for people. They answer questions. So as I said, there's about 1,600 members in there as well. Kevin and I have actually started our own little group. I think we've got about 45 people in there so far, Kev, for brand new students as well that we're helping. So Kevin's in there, and myself and Paul, Des, and other people. So this is for the people who really want to take it to the next level. So as you can see, Kevin is a very good-looking man, and they do what's called the SOS 45 challenges, which is basically touching on what we touched on yesterday, right? Which is in regards to you know, not just looking after and making sure you're doing trades, but looking after yourself, right? So you're you know, doing as much meditation as you can, or you will and you must do some, like I've said yesterday, or you are, you know, you're looking after your physical well-being. That doesn't mean you're going out doing crazy, you know, life's crazy, you know, 40K runs and stuff, but you're just looking after yourself, right? You're not eating a lot of bad food. You're trying to stay healthy, all those kinds of things. So they do challenges like that, which help people. And they even got cookbooks now that they do, which is crazy. So to kind of add, you know, extra incentive as well and extra things you can do. So Kevin actually did that challenge with his lovely partner there as well. And so Sheila's actually part of MBA as well, which is awesome. So, you know, ladies and men all do the challenges as well if they want to. I'm going to get in the next one. I keep using an excuse each time. And I just keep saying, well, I've got 4 kids, so I couldn't do that one. But I will do the next challenge. So yeah, and also access to all future live online courses and training materials. So obviously that value is priceless. Because they're always updating. So it's really difficult to kind of put in value, the amount of, to put in like words, the amount of value you do get. It's insane. I guess, you know, to ask people about it is a good way. I mean, obviously, Clive, you could ask Paul directly. Paul's been part of it for a while. You know, anyone else who's listening to the recording, you could reach out to myself or Kevin or whoever else it was that you may have talked to about it, by all means. So if you jump on that next slide there, Kev. So you get priority access to all the future in-person events, seminars, international retreats. So they do this all the time. They've got their next live one now. We're kind of getting out of COVID finally, happening on the Gold Coast at the end of February, I believe it is, which is epic, that we're going to be going to. I don't think Kev can get out of Thailand, unfortunately. So I don't think Kev will be there with us physically.
Roll out.
Yeah, so they got all lots of, there's more value here. So an independent business owner trainings for people who want to kind of create their own business within MBA as well, which is pretty awesome. But we're obviously talking mainly about trading at the moment. And finally, I think we've got, what other, oh yeah, cool. We just wanted to kind of summarize all the value here. So obviously you've got all this value. So you've got, you know, the channels, the Discord channels, the Facebook groups, the live calls every week, the, you know, over 20 hours of foundational videos, cookbooks, you got all the whole thing, right? So there's a supportive group. There's actually 6,000 plus students and traders, hours of recorded lessons. So yeah, the big thing for us that we probably say is more so the psychology side. So like what we said, it really kind of keeps you in line with the psychology side. So yeah, all that value there. So me and Kevin personally have paid, you know, I know myself, we've paid $10,000 upwards for trading courses. I know Kev's paid similar, that have offered probably an eighth of the value that these guys do. And the reason why we don't really recommend a lot of things to people, because we really like people to kind of discover and their own things. But because of the amount of value these guys do bring, and the insanely low price they do it for, which is $149, it's USD, so $149 USD every month. And the fact that you can cancel anytime you want is just epic. And honestly, sometimes I believe it's too cheap. Personally, I think they undersell themselves. Sorry, Desmond just said their education is gold. Yeah, so zero knowledge to profits in 8 weeks is common amongst their students. Yeah, exactly. So there's multiple stories of students in there who had zero knowledge, like the majority of people who are watching this, or as well, who have gone from zero knowledge to profits in a couple of months, which is the way that they've programmed it and they've done it is insane. And they've done it in a way that's really good. And obviously you've got a lot of help and support there, not just from the community, but from Kevin, myself, and Paul, and Roscoe's in there, and everyone. So all of us here who've been listening to the call, the guys who couldn't join us from yesterday, you all know who Kev and I are anyway. But this is just our Calendly link, which is just basically an online one-on-one chat we can catch up with after this. Now, it doesn't even have to be about MBA. It could just be about anything. More than happy to chat to you guys about what you've got out of this 2 days or anything like that. But I'll put that up in the chat now. So calendly.com/MBA get started. So yeah, more than happy just to have a chat about what you learn and bounce things off me. But by all means, we kind of wanted to end this trading session with showing you guys, I guess, the way that Kevin and I have really been able to step up our game, especially in the trading space, and go from, I call this, well, I'll call me this. You can speak for yourself, Kevin, but I called myself before a cowboy trader. Where I was just in trades thinking I was going good. I wasn't keeping track of the trades. So at the end of the month, I'd be like, oh yeah, I had a great month. And then I look at my account balance and I'm like, oh, I only made $100. What's going on there? And that's because I wasn't actually tracking my trades. I wasn't understanding where they were going. And, you know, and that was one of the massive things. So me personally, what I took out of it is the having a trade plan and being, and sticking to that psychology and understanding behind it, because that was a key thing for me, because, I was being very naughty and not doing that. So that was the massive thing I took out of it. Kev, I don't know if you want to quickly comment about what you've taken out of it.
Yeah. So for me, the thing that drew me into this, because I'd already been trading for, you know, a while, was more along like the simplicity and the discipline of what they teach. Similar to Troy, like, I wouldn't say I was a cowboy trader. I was probably a lot worse, whatever the worst thing is of a trader. Just like I'm a drummer, right, at heart. And so I like hitting a lot of different things. And basically, yeah, with those 4 trading styles, like I have different strategies and different hats and everything. You can even see, if you can see on the screen, I have different things that I follow in my trading plan. My trading plan isn't just one thing, which most people don't really do, because they try to stick to one thing and be good at that. But I've found over the years, my one thing that I'm good at is doing a bunch of things. Like, you know, jack of all trades, master of none kind of works for me, or it has been working for me. Like, it's more like jack of all trades, master of some. And I do get caught up in the over-analysis, the nerdiness side of things, which I love. But what I've found from this course is that it's helping me to be a little bit less of that, which is a good thing, because like, rather than me jumping into these like machine gun trades, I'm able to sort of go, oh, okay, maybe I can be a bit more work smarter, which was right at the start of this course, you know, work smarter, not harder. And I've been learning how to do that. So I still have like I've got multiple accounts, and like I've got my account that I do these, you know, machine gun trades, or just like get into that mode of being a total nerd. And then I've got my account where it's just, this is MBA, and this is where like I have to stick to my trade plan and whatever it is. And it's been, it's been really beneficial on the financial side, you know, especially living here in you know, the middle of nowhere, basically in Thailand, and with no business coming through, trading's been what's keeping us afloat. And then on the other side, the physical and mental aspect of things. So you saw there, I did that challenge, and that just blew me away to like have, you know, what I thought was going to be a cerebral academic trading program. And then next minute they've got, oh, we've got a vegan cookbook, and, you know, we've got this exercise program, and you can, there's videos there that like from a personal trainer who's part of the group, that people can sort of get into, and it's just an additional value. You don't have to pay any extra for it. It's just part of the program to make you a better performer, which then helps with the trading and mental side of things. Those are like the biggest key things for me. Like my partner Sheila, she got into it, like she just did the challenge just because she saw I was doing it. I was like, hey, do you want to do this thing with me? It's got nothing to do with trading. And she jumped into it, and then, you know, achieved all these awesome results. And then next minute she's like, oh, okay, I might give trading a go because I see it's working for you. And she sees all the mistakes I make, and she's like, why are you doing that? This is my trade. This is what I would do. And then we did this paper trading thing where what was it? We did 8 trades. I think eight out of 10 trades on $1,000 account. Had she done those trades, she would have made $5,000 already. And here I was like going, oh, I'm going to make $100 here and $50 here and whatever. So she just outperformed me prior to even doing the course. So it's been really beneficial to have her join the course as well now and you know, with her style. And then, yeah, the Discord group and the community has been, you know, just, super supportive. And I can't say enough, or I can't talk enough about it. Like the value for money that you get from, you know, just $150. Yeah, like yeah.
It's difficult to put it in words without a doubt. But yeah, look, for those guys who are watching it back on the recording, and you know, or yourself, who's jumped on today live, Clive, and obviously Des and the other guys, definitely worth having a look. And as I said, we only recommend the best, and more than happy to go there. Like I said, you know, Clive, Paul is in it, and so you can always reach out to him or us or whatever. And also the other guys who are watching the recording, feel free to reach out to us. So we've gone way over time. So
I forgot to mention there's also a ladies only group as well.
Yeah,
which is really good. And
yeah, there is. That's pretty good.
Just quickly on the charting side of things and the coaches. So they put their charts on in the Discord group whenever the calls are happening. So even if you miss a live call, you can always watch it later, or you can check in their channel to see, okay, what are they looking at? And in that regard, even if you're just starting out with your charting or with your trading, you can at least have that sounding board to go, okay, if I was to place a trade going up, this is a position that, you know, I guess it carries less risk because they've done the work of analyzing it. And it's just like that extra bit of confidence that can help you with your charting, with your trading, to be able to place positions as well as you trade. So yeah, sorry, back to you, Troy.
No, absolutely. No, what you're saying is 100% right and correct. So it's been epic to have that support. So I'm going to wrap this up now. We did go a little bit over longer than we had, but which was all good. There was some really good kind of analysis and chatting that we had. And it looks like Kev's trade is going off on the right foot, which is good. Got a little green candle heading up, which is awesome. So yeah, so I think, mate, I think that's a wrap. Did we have a final summary slide? I think we're good because we wanted to wrap that up with showing you guys about that. But if there's any questions at all, obviously, I know, Clive, you're still on now, mate. If you have any live questions, you want to hit us with them, or you can always chat later. Yeah, brain's probably exploding, mate, so I totally get it.
You're on mute, Clive. Sorry.
I think you're on mute, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that ends the call. So I'll cut off the call at that part. But I was going to try and squeeze this in where, you know, this is going into like the automation side, but I did mention it in the call. Remember how we talked about price fluctuations and like why it's important to kind of be an active trader, as you mentioned yesterday, Troy. You were saying being an active trader. HODLbot is a platform where for me it's set and forget. It's a bot that just does trading on my behalf based on the parameters that I set. And you can see here, because I wasn't active in it, I allowed a bot to run things for me, even though I'm still profitable. Like over time, I've had 30% increase in my account of this. I think it started with $250 or whatever, 300 something. There was a day, or there was a period of, was it the 18th to the 19th of November, where my account shot up from $322. I don't know if you can you see that?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I wasn't actively trading in this account, it went from $322 to $11,458 because of some coin that was purchased at the time. But then because I wasn't active on it and actively trading to have spotted it, my account went back down to $332.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
for anyone out there, yeah, like, can you imagine like the psychology behind that? Going, crap, I just missed out. Like FOMO. That's $322 to $11,458. Like, a part of me is like, why didn't I pay attention then?
Why didn't I log on the 19th of November?
Yeah. I was looking back at my calendar. What was I doing then? And why, what happened? But it gives you an idea of like how the roller coaster can be in this thing, and it's a little bit of fun as well. And knowing that those possibilities are available, if you're in the right place at the right time, how to read the market, how to look at charts and all that sort of thing. These opportunities will come through, tenfold for anyone who gets on board doing this stuff with MBA, because it's a market, right? It goes up and down. Markets are running every day, 24/7. You're going to find something. You're going to learn something, and I think it's just awesome that you can have drops, things like that.
You can look back and go, oh damn.
Yeah.
Could you not set some auto alarms for various levels?
No, for that particular bot, there's no alerts or anything. It's in my bucket of like set and forget. So I just put money in there and then let it do its thing. I wish it had an alarm feature. I might type into the creators and go, hey. But yeah, it's like the beauty about learning all this stuff. It's like it's learning how to fish rather than just feeding fish to people. If you're a fish eater. The program helps people learn how to fish for those opportunities themselves. So, just wanted to throw that in.
Thanks for throwing that in, mate. We've all got those stories. Wow, I could tell you a few.
The fish was that big.
I had a.
You had to.
So, I'll share a story that I had. So I had. This only happened fairly recently. I bought this coin in an ICO. So I don't know if you remember an ICO from yesterday live, but what happened was so I bought it in early 2018, and it was in this wallet, an address that I'd sent it to, and I'd kind of not forgotten about it, but I kind of like, it was in multiple addresses anyway, come across it one day, and this is just a way of saying this is a good story as opposed to a bad story, that it was a coin. It was Zeller. I don't know if you know that one, Kev, but SEELE. And anyway, I didn't even know and didn't even realize. But what had happened was sometime between March 2018 and November 2020. And this is where being a lazy investor worked for me. But I probably shouldn't have done this. For some reason, I got sent a heap more tokens. They originally only sent me 12,500 tokens, but then something happened in their protocol or something. And I got 375,000 of these tokens. And so I jumped on one day and I'm like, what the hell? Like, I looked on this account balance and it said like thousands of dollars. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I clicked in it and here's these 375,000 Zeller tokens. And it just so happened that the day before they moved from like, it wasn't like, we're not talking heaps of dollars. Like, it is a fair bit, but not massive amounts. But it went from like 1 cent to 2 cents. So I went on and I pretty much dumped the market because I had 375,000 of them. So like I sent most of them sold for like 1.5 cents, but I just didn't want to risk. I'm thinking it did never, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh, it could have gone higher, whatever. But at the time, it was equivalent to like 0.4 of a Bitcoin or something. So I'm like, screw this. I've literally just come across 0.4 of a Bitcoin. So I literally nearly dumped the market. I think it was on Hotbit or something. It was one of these exchanges that weren't very great. And just sold 375,000 of these tokens. And come across that. But you have good stories that happen like that. But then majority of the time, if you're lazy like that and forget something you've done, majority of the time it's like the Kevin situation where you're like, oh my God, why didn't I check this a year ago? Because it literally peaked at $20,000 or something, and then it's gone down now since. But yeah, it can work both ways. But the good way is to literally just make sure you're active and be an active investor and stay across your the things you're invested in. Like I said yesterday, you're not going to get $1,000 or $2,000 and just leave it in the front garden and go, oh, I hope it's still there in 2 years' time, because there's a good chance it won't be. And that's how some people treat this market, which is just the wrong way to treat it. If you respect this market and you treat it the right way, it'll reward you handsomely. But you've got to treat it the right way. We have gone for an hour and a half over time. So, mate, thanks for sticking in with us, Clive, on the live recording.
I've enjoyed it. It's good. Very good.
Few people have come and joined us, but you stuck the whole way, so thank you. And had a few. We had about 10 or so on yesterday, but a lot of them messaged me and said they couldn't make today, and a couple are coming on tonight. So, mate, if you want to explode your brain again, you feel completely free to jump in again tonight if you want to. If not, totally understand why you wouldn't, considering the download of information you just got. But we're literally doing this exact same call in 5.5 hours time. So if you want to, feel free to jump on again, mate. You're quite welcome to.
I think maybe give my apologies to the participants. We've got a bit of a social event happening, so I might
totally get it.
Sunday afternoon. It could roll on. So
no, I don't blame you, mate. Honestly, totally understand, and I think you deserve to give your brain a break. So, look, I think we're pretty much.
Be in touch. Yeah, we'll be in touch, definitely. I'll talk to Paul. There's a number of ideas just buzzing around my head, so yeah. We'll talk to Paul, and we will definitely talk more. And good luck, Kevin, with the resort, and I hope COVID gets sorted as soon as possible, and you get some customers in your resort as quickly and as safely as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, and actually, remind me, I have to connect you with one of the guys in our community in crypto who is working on these like irrigation projects in the outback.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to catch up with him and connect.
Awesome. I mean, it was absolutely a thought bubble. It was just an idea of being able to just do something for the community without asking for anything back. I'm not, I haven't bought the land around it and I'm going to make money from growing whatever crops there. I just want to irrigate the land. And it's kind of a euphemism as well, really, to say, what can you do for your community that is not asking for anything in return, where people can benefit. Sure, there'll be some businesses that will benefit from it, and there'll be people that will be greedy and all this sort of stuff goes on. Yeah. But there'll also be a lot of people that will appreciate that and be grateful for that. And that's absolutely. That's satisfying. So, yeah, it was just one idea. It was a tiny little thought bubble. But I think it's kind of cool way of expressing, do something without expecting any return.
It's awesome, mate. Giving without expectation of return is something that I'll once again put my hand up and took a long while for me to get my head around, but it's been the most rewarding and great thing I've been doing. So, it's awesome. So, kudos to you, mate. That's fantastic, and we'd love to definitely stay in touch. By all means, you are on Facebook. Make sure you join our Crypto Collective group, mate.
Okay.
And absolutely reach out to Paul or reach out to Kevin or myself. We'll always answer and have a chat. If you got any follow-up questions or anything else, for sure, mate. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to coming to the resort as well. So
yeah, for yourself or for anyone else out there, whether you're related to crypto or not, the whole point of this resort was to build a place where people could experiment with these, potentially regenerative models and sustainable models for a better world. So if anyone out there, has, like say Clive, with your idea about irrigating a place, like we've got a small plot here that we could test those things out on and sort of make a small model happen that could benefit the community here, and, you know, serve as a model or like a minimum viable plan or prototype for other people to potentially follow. So I'm totally down for like opening the place up for those kinds of projects and just like collaborating with people. So yeah, anyone there that has any ideas on, you know, how to build a better future, hit me up, and we'll work out a way to, you know, make it work here, or at least test it out. There's no, you know, no stupid ideas. I think, like, when it comes to having good intentions, it's just trial and error, right? And I'm happy to dig up the backyard here and figure out what could work, or you know, build a mud hut or whatever it is that people want to try. I'm open to it over here.
I love it, and it's very heartening, and I'll love to share with you some other stupid ideas I've got. This background is not coincidence. I've got a really crazy stupid idea out of space, so I'll run that by another time.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a friend who does space VR, so nothing in my head is like, oh, that's a crazy idea. To me, it's like, yeah, it's ideas are worth, you know, pulling the thread on. So yeah.
All good fun. Excellent.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you, everyone. And yeah, as Troy mentioned, you know, hit us up in the Facebook group, or just stay in contact. Whether you decide to continue on your trading journey or not, stay in contact and know that we're here to lend a helping hand. And we'll hopefully see you in the real world at some point in our lifetime. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Troy. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Clive. See you, Kev. Catch you guys soon.
yeah. Bye.
Yeah, bye.